A man named Norman was using a metal detector to search for gold in his garden. And indeed, Norman found something underneath. When he dug it up, he discovered a metal box with the word, Jack, written on it. This was the famous music box called Jack in the Box. Norman decided to bring it inside. And soon after, tragedy struck his family. When Norman went upstairs, leaving his wife alone with the toy, he heard her scream. Norman rushed downstairs but only managed to witness his wife being dragged inside the box. No matter how hard he tried to open it, he couldn't. A monster in the form of a clown emerged from the music box and attacked its prey. Where did it come from? And is there any way to stop this monster? Join us in today's film to find out more. 12 years have passed since Norman's wife was abducted. The protagonist, Casey, an American, decides to move to England to start a new life. He applies for a job at the Hawthorne Museum. Inside, he meets Lisa, a longtime museum employee. He and Lisa will later take turns working there. She gives the new recruit a tour of the museum. Casey is drawn to a newly arrived box. It's Jack in the Box, and he decides to try to open it. Fortunately, with just one try, Casey finds the code. When he turns one letter, the other 3 letters automatically turn to form the word, Jack. A crank on the side also appears. Casey uses it to continue opening the music box. And immediately a clown-like puppet appears, startling both of them. Seeing this, Lisa contacts David, an antiques expert, to come and analyze the box. That night, 2 thieves sneak into the museum and steal valuable items. One robber spotted the box with the puppet right there. The box closed. The crank moved on its own. Music played, and when it stopped, a hideous hand appeared and attacked the robber. The other robber, after taking everything, went to look for his accomplice but couldn't find him. Instead, he was met with an incredibly grotesque monster. Terrified, he hid under the table hoping to avoid being discovered. Of course, life isn't always a dream. In just one night, 2 people had fallen victim to the clown Jack. Casey and Lisa were having dinner at the time, chatting to get to know their colleague better. Casey's reason for moving from America was partly to travel the world, and partly to forget a life event. It was almost 4 a.m., but Casey couldn't sleep. He had been suffering from insomnia for months and was haunted by a story. A terrified girl had called Casey for help. She said someone was chasing her with a knife. The next morning, Casey started his first day of work only to discover the museum had been burglarized. He called Lisa and asked if he could review the security camera footage. But she said the museum's cameras were useless because the owner, Rachel, couldn't afford the surveillance service. A little later, David arrived to see Casey and showed him the antique music box. David confirmed it was indeed a Jack in the Box. Made in the late 19th century, it was said that the box was created to contain evil entities. When opened, the demon inside would escape and devour its victims. Casey asked David if he knew anyone with more in-depth knowledge of paranormal phenomena, and he advised Casey to try talking to someone named Maurice. That afternoon, the museum finally had a visitor. The woman asked Casey for directions to the war exhibits. After being given directions, the person went upstairs, at which point the box began to make sounds. The lights suddenly went out and Jack appeared. A scream woke Casey, who was asleep downstairs. He ran upstairs to check but found no one there. The next day, while walking to work, Casey saw a missing poster and realized it was of the woman who had visited the museum the day before. There were also the 2 young men who broke in the day before. Following David's advice, Casey tried to find information about Maurice. He had created a website and a separate page about the clown Jack. When the box is opened, Jack must devour 6 victims before returning to his long sleep. Jack will remain in the box until someone else opens it and begins the next cycle. The clown puppet suddenly slowly turned to look directly at Casey. When he realized it, he jumped in surprise. Rachel arrived, having just returned from her trip. The 2 exchanged a few words, and Rachel asked Casey to take the music box to the antique toy display area. Still a little bothered by the puppet's stare, Casey put it aside for the moment. It was the weekend, and when work was over, Casey happily left, not forgetting to say goodbye to the museum cleaner, Mandy. She had to stay a little longer to clean up. When Mandy arrived at the toy gallery, she was startled. She saw a puppet, then a spider on the floor, and when she looked up, the music box had vanished. Terrified, Mandy ran, only to find the box blocking the staircase. The surrounding doors were locked, forcing her to walk past it to get downstairs. It started playing music, and Jack appeared. Mandy became the clown's 4th victim. It was the beginning of the week, and Lisa returned to the museum after a few days of leave. She overheard Casey sitting on the stairs listening to a voicemail from the girl who frequently haunted him. Lisa accidentally made a noise, And Casey quickly put away his phone and left. Lisa inquired, and he finally revealed a heartbreaking story. The girl was Casey's fiancée. On that fateful night, she was walking home when she realized she was being followed by a stranger with a weapon. She called Casey, but he was asleep and ignored the call. While leaving a voicemail, the girl was stabbed to death. 6 months have passed since then, and Casey has been haunted and unable to sleep at night. Lisa tries to comfort him. Just as Officer Martin arrives, he's investigating the disappearance of Mandy, who hasn't returned home since Friday afternoon. Having been identified as the last person to see Mandy, Casey answers a few questions from the police. Casey then asks Martin if he believes in supernatural entities. He seems to be thinking Jack the Clown is involved, but Casey changes his mind. He thinks no one would believe such a farce. Having obtained Maurice's phone number, Casey tries calling, but no one answers. After leaving a voicemail, he sets up a camera to record the music box's movements. Casey calls Andy, a hacker friend, to ask him to locate Maurice using his phone number. When he goes back inside, Casey finds the toy is gone. The lights go out, and he's attacked by Jack and knocked unconscious. But for some reason the monster didn't eat Casey like it did with the previous victims. When he wakes up, Casey shows the video to Lisa, but it cuts off at the most crucial point. Casey hypothesizes that Mandy might be a victim of Jack in the box, but Lisa suggests that insomnia caused him to hallucinate. Casey gets angry and leaves. He later finds information about the person who donated the box to the museum. It's Norman. Casey searches online for information about him and discovers that Norman's wife disappeared 12 years ago and he is a suspect. Casey urgently goes to find Norman. Initially, Norman doesn't want to talk, but when Casey mentions he has the box, Norman invites him into his house. On that fateful day, Norman saw his wife being killed by the monster and dragged into a box. He tried to explain it to the police, but no one believed him. At one point, Norman even doubted himself, wondering if he was hallucinating. Thanks to Casey, he learned that the monster was real. Upon hearing about the disappearances of the museum staff, Norman advised the young man to leave and return to America immediately. But Casey didn't want to abandon the others, leaving them vulnerable to Jack's wrath. Even so, once outside in his car, Casey was swayed by the advice. Knowing no one would believe him, he would be foolishly losing his life confronting a powerful and malevolent entity. Furthermore, not leaving risked facing accusations for the disappearances. Suddenly, he saw his deceased fiancée, who asked if Casey would abandon those around him again, as he had done to her. A wave of guilt washed over Casey, and he decided to confront Jack. He returned to the museum, took the music box to an empty field, and set it on fire. But it returned to its original position. Jack then emerged from the box and attacked Casey. It grabbed him by the neck and shrieked piercingly. Just like before, Jack spared Casey's life again. The next morning, Lisa arrived at work and found him still unconscious. Rachel then arrived and, after hearing Lisa's account of Casey being haunted by the music box, decided to fire him. Outside, Casey tried to convince Lisa to believe him, but she remained firm in her opinion. Casey's friend called and said he had found Maurice's address. He drove there to meet him, and after some persuasion, Maurice agreed to give Casey 30 minutes to talk. Meanwhile, at the museum, Rachel had the haunted music box moved into the storage room and locked. On this side, Casey recounted everything that was happening with the clown, and Maurice said Jack was a demon, but it could be destroyed. Casey could stab it through the heart with a knife and recite an ancient spell to trap the monster inside the box forever. But the important thing is that not a single part of it should be left outside the box. So Jack will still come back to finish off its remaining prey. Another crucial point is that since Casey was the one who opened the box, it's as if there's a pact with the devil that Jack won't be able to kill him. Jack's attacks and threats against Casey over the past few days were meant to scare him away, preventing him from trying to kill it. It was lunchtime, so Lisa went out to eat, leaving only Rachel at the museum. Rachel heard music playing and realized it was coming from the storage room. So she went to investigate. There, she was sucked inside the box. When Lisa returned, she couldn't find her boss anywhere, so she searched around. She was horrified to find the storage room covered in blood. Lisa called the police, but all the doors slammed shut. The clown emerged from inside the music box, slowly walking towards its prey. It used its claws to stab Lisa in the stomach. Then there was a sound from outside. It was Casey. The monster temporarily spared Lisa and turned to him as before. Casey didn't have time to react before he was knocked unconscious again. Having finished with that, Jack went to Lisa, dragged her back into the box to complete his sixth victim. Casey vaguely woke up, trying to crawl out to save Lisa. He saw an antique knife and used it to stab the clown in the heart. The box immediately opened and sucked the monster in. Casey recited the incantation as Maurice had instructed, but didn't realize that at the moment the box closed, a part of its claws had fallen out. After everything was done, the police arrived and found Lisa lying motionless on the floor. Casey was immediately suspected and taken to the police station. A few days later, Lisa went to see Maurice to ask for help proving Casey's innocence. She confessed the whole truth to the police, but no one believed her story. Maurice couldn't find a way to clear her name, but advised her to finish what Casey hadn't done because the box was indestructible. So she had to bury it somewhere no one could find it. Each person Jack ate would give him 3 more years to live, meaning he would now survive for at least 15 years. During that time, if the box wasn't opened, the monster would disappear forever. Lisa followed the instructions and buried the box in an empty field far from town. Meanwhile, Casey continued to be interrogated. Martin showed him a stack of photos of Rachel's crime scene, but the one Casey was most interested in was a picture of a part of Jack's claw on the floor. This meant Casey's efforts were completely futile. He panicked and tried to warn the police that Lisa was in danger, but it was too late. The clown had dragged her into the box to devour her. One cycle was over, and now the monster could live for another 18 years without eating, waiting for its next hunt. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.